Hello everyone, this is Anthony Smith, retired SWCC operator, conducting interviews with former and retired SWCC operators, talking about operator syndrome, SWCC TBI, major orthopedic injuries, and things like that. This is interview number 24. We're talking with ETC SWCC, retired Roy Cantrelle, and here we go. Interview number 24 is a testimonial of Roy's medical records and conditions. He answered questions from the following questionnaire formats and gave permission to produce this presentation and to share it openly. We covered the operator syndrome scale, the GAT-7 scale, the PLC-5 scale, the PHQ-9, the NSI neural behavioral symptoms inventory, and the brief SWCC background questionnaire. Okay, so here we go. Roy Cantrelle is a retired SWCC operator. He was in the Navy for 20 years. He spent 12 plus years as a SWCC operator. He was in Class 1, TAC 94, and he was a 53-52 when he retired. He did 5 deployments, cycles, and various flyaways. He served at SBU 12, and later it became SBT 12, and then Special Clearance Team. He worked on 24-foot ribs. He spent 3 years on the HSBs, and he did 11-meter ribs. He has about 15,000 hours of SWCC fast boat time and an estimated 1.7 million wave pounding / whiplash related impacts causing possible MTBI. So Navy SWCC is a special class of elite naval warriors who have been a decisive force behind some of America's most important secret missions. Special boat operations have unique and often deadly challenges due to the combination of operating powerful, sophisticated machines designed for speed and stealth in some of the planet's most inhospitable environments. The average SWCC career operator experiences MTBI and major orthopedic injuries over the course of their career in peacetime and in war. And Naval Special Warfare conducts missions in over 70 countries, 365 days a year. The sum of SWCC injury does not accumulate until the operator retires. Throughout this presentation and all the presentations that I do on SWCC, traumatic brain injury, and long-term orthopedic injury, we will focus a lot on a term called operator syndrome. It's not a medical diagnosis, it's a framework that we use to describe a nexus of symptoms. It was termed and written up and published by Dr. Christopher Free. There's a DOI link there to it as well. We're talking about the nexus of operator syndrome as it pertains to special warfare boat operators. And I contacted Dr. Free, spoke with him on the phone, have gone back and forth with him on email and communicating with him to better understand operator syndrome and what it is and how it pertains to the SOF community, and continue to collaborate with Dr. Free in the future. All right, so operator syndrome is not something that we understand as a diagnosis, a medical diagnosis. What it is a qualitative descriptive framework involving a nexus of symptoms. And these symptoms are psychiatric illnesses and disorders along with chronic orthopedic injuries. Operator syndrome is an end state to a long career of high octane, high tempo, and high allostatic overload. Operator syndrome affects all SOF forces across all major branches. And when you look at the list of different SOF forces under SOCOM, you see Navy SWCC listed there. So this presentation is pertaining specifically to Navy SWCCs or special warfare boat operators and the end-state operator syndrome and all this nexus of illness and injury. All right, so looking at all the operator syndrome symptoms, different issues, health-related. Everything in red are some of the things that Roy is dealing with currently at the moment. He has TBI. He was diagnosed at Tulane. He has endocrine dysfunction, sleep disturbance, obstructive sleep apnea. He has chronic joint pain, back pain, orthopedic problems, headaches, slight substance abuse issues, depression, some anger issues, worry, rumination, and stress reactivity, uh, marital and family community dysfunction, problems with sexual health and intimacy, being on guard, hypervigilant, memory, concentration, and cognitive impairments, vestibular and vision impairments, and challenges of the transition from military to civilian life. All right, here are some of Roy's comorbidities due to SWCC boat operations. He has TBI, a diagnosis from Tulane with no VA rating currently. He has anxiety with no rating currently, depression with no VA rating, central processing disorder, also diagnosed at Tulane, no rating for that. Sleep apnea, he does have a diagnosis and a CPAP with a VA rating for that. Insomnia with no rating. He has issues with irritability, easily annoyed, mental fatigue, dizziness, vision, hearing issues, tinnitus, trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, personality issues, concentration and focus issues, little pleasure in doing things, has an increased appetite, and some hearing difficulties. He has headaches and migraines, pretty severe, no VA rating for that. Severe hypervigilance, short-term memory loss, pretty severe. Issues with sensitivity to light and noise, and degenerative joint disease. All right, some symptoms and issues and orthopedic injuries. Roy has spine issues, heavy scarring throughout his spinal region. He did get some relief at Tulane, but those things tend to come back. He has numbness in his extremities, both hands and his feet. He has chronic joint pain, sciatica pain, going down to his feet, and also contributing to his migraines. He has 3 right knee surgeries, the last one being a knee replacement. He has high blood pressure and cholesterol, low testosterone, apparent symptoms of allostatic overload. He has tinnitus. He does have a history of high school football, and his brain MRI, showed one big white spot, which is something that Tulane was concerned about. Okay, through the SWCC questionnaire, we talked about some issues and symptoms experienced due to high-speed SWCC boat operations, things that Roy experienced. He experienced full-body slamming on SWCC boats, whiplash, and being dazed and stunned from high G-force wave impacts on SWCC boats. He experienced extreme sleep deprivation due to SWCC operations. He experienced seeing stars and spots in his vision due to high G-force wave impacts on SWCC boats. He experienced mental fatigue due to high G-force wave impacts on SWCC boats. He experienced concentration and lack of focus due to high G-force impacts on SWCC boats. He experienced 4 to 10 foot seas up to 50 knots during high G-force impacts on SWCC boats. And he has experienced many different orthopedic injuries due to SWCC fast boat operations. Thinking of his current physical, emotional, and psychological conditions in mind, he did not have any of these physical, emotional, and psychological conditions when he became a 9533 some time ago. Now, he does have all these things, and he believes his conditions and issues are attributed to SWCC fast boat operations. So as you can see, the list of things there that he's kind of experienced during his time on the boats, all of those things there, most of them are post-concussion symptoms. So he experienced a lot of weight pounding, and as a result, a lot of post-concussion symptoms through weight pounding on SWCC boats. All right, so traumatic brain injury for ETC SWCC retired Roy Cantrelle. The average SWCC operator logs about 3,000 hours of boat time in a deployment cycle. Roche's 94 study, research study conducted underway studies on NSW fast boats for a period of 6 days, 36 hours, and it totaled 8,610 wave impacts ranging from 2 to 25 Gs. Of those 8,610 wave impacts, 4,496 impacts ranged above 5 Gs. Those 4,496 5G or greater impacts in 36 hours equals out to about 124 significant whiplash events in an hour. for a SWCC operator on fast boats wave pounding. So take that average and do the math. You're looking at 376 or 374,000 plus significant G-force impacts in a deployment cycle. So if you take that number and you multiply it by the number of deployments, you come up with, for Roy, about 1,873,000 plus significant full body impacts while wave slamming on SWCC boats, which eventually cause these disastrous long-term effects of chronic orthopedic injury, whiplash, TBI, and other issues. This nexus of injury, an issue that we see all these SWCC operators having. Okay, just to summarize operator syndrome, all the symptoms that Roy Cantrelle has. Etymologically speaking, Roy is a 54-year-old retired SWCC operator as of right now, which is July 2023. He had 12 years of SWCC boat service, 5+ deployments, including 15,000 hours of SWCC boat time, causing an estimated 1.7 million significant full body impacts while wave pounding on SWCC boats. Roy has over 19 symptoms of MTBI and nexus of operator syndrome symptoms. He endured full body slamming and whiplash from wave pounding at significant G-force exposure, contributing to his diagnosis of TBI at Tulane, which is not service connected at the moment. He has insomnia with no rating, sleep apnea with no rating, or sleep apnea with a rating. He has allostatic overload, other mental issues, lacking VA ratings for many. He has sciatica pain and migraines associated with C-spine trauma, indicative of whiplash syndrome, and he has had some issues with his joints and joint replacement. Roy has been to Tulane TBI clinic, where he was diagnosed with numerous post-concussion symptoms which impede his quality of life. Long-term effects of MTBI major orthopedic injuries are debilitating for SWCC operators like Roy. Roy does not have 100% disability rating from the VA, which is, it's kind of mind-boggling for guys that are so beat up from their military service not to be 100%. According to Roy, when he was a young SWCC operator first getting on the SWCC boats, he did not have any significant mental, physical, or emotional impairments compared to now, many years after being on those SWCC boats. And Roy was he was involved in contact sports in high school football. All right, so as I draw some conclusions regarding this ongoing SWCC TBI research project, currently I've done 24 interviews or record reviews with former SWCC operators and conducted an online survey, SWCC TBI and orthopedic injury survey with 314 participants. So to date, we have 100% of the 300 plus SWCC operators interviewed or surveyed that have significant TBI exposure and contributing to a nexus of post-concussion symptoms. There were 2 SEAL and 12 NSW support and CBs attached to the boat teams who also reported TBI and orthopedic injuries related to NSW fast boat service. This was in the survey. There are probably hundreds of SEALs with issues as well related to fast boat service, looking at the dam neck guys back in the day. 100% of SWCC operators interviewed and surveyed experienced full body high G-force wave pounding, which contributes to whiplash, repetitive MTBI, and orthopedic injury from SWCC boat operations, and it's proven to cause mental, emotional, and physical injury. In the survey, 82% of orthopedic and 82% of the respondents had orthopedic injuries from SWCC boat service. 90% had spinal injuries, and 27 are suicidal, which is a pretty significant number and a big problem. SWCC operators interviewed and surveyed thus far who were never diagnosed with TBI before TBI protocols were implemented lacked VA ratings for service-connected injuries due to SWCC fast boat service, all of us. Since TBI protocols have been implemented in NSW, many modern SWCC operators now are attending NICO and other TBI clinics. There is a protocol now in place, so these guys on active duty are able to get to clinics, get diagnosis, get treatment, and get ratings when they retire for TBI and post-concussion symptoms. Information in this presentation provides evidence that Roy was a SWCC operator on SWCC fast boats for multiple deployments, and that the aggregate of data collected in these interviews and SWCC TBI survey connect long-term TBI and post-concussion syndrome and orthopedic injury to SWCC boat service. Most importantly, thousands of former and retired SWCC operators suffer from long-term MTBI and major orthopedic injury without acknowledgement or help from the VA or the DoD. There is a gap in TBI research on the retired SWCC operator peer group, as members of this group suffer severe long-term issues of TBI and major orthopedic injuries. References for SWCC TBI are listed in my presentation entitled SWCC TBI or titled SWCC TBI, which is posted on my YouTube page. And that's it. Thank you very much.